Welcome to another great video.
Yes,
We've had
we do.
some good questions recently, and we're coming back to this question here from Curtis, which he said he withdraws from his RRIF. He's doing that RRSP Meltdown, trying to minimize it, but he has this non-registered account. His TFSA is maxed out, so he can't put the money there. He puts it in the non-registered account. That creates a tax burden.
It does.
It kind of restricts what he can do with the RRIF. What do I do? We've talked about a few solutions in the past. Today we're talking about another solution for that non-registered account. Whole life insurance.
Yeah, whole life insurance is the next big one that we want to deal with. This is more of a low risk scenario as opposed to say an asset location or something which may have a little more risk to it. Basically, the low risk scenario or the whole life scenario is one where you're putting money away. It's going to be non-taxable. It's in a secure investment, and you don't have to worry about it for the length of time that's there. So, I mean, if we take a look at where we are, I mean, our asset pool is divided up one way. Yeah. Again, if we're taking it, you know, anything that's taxable, you want to keep in stuff that's sheltered. Anything that's non-taxable, you want to put in your or least taxable, you want to put in that non-registered pool. And that's where that whole life scenario would probably come in, is putting a whole life policy in there, depending on how much you want to put away.
Yeah, and again, the idea here is you're trying to draw down that RRIF. You're doing the RRSP Meltdown, but you've got your TFSA full. You have the non-registered account, which creates tax every year because you got dividends and interest and capital gains.
Limit your amount.
So, all right, that's going to limit what you can do with the RRIF. So, for that non-registered account, maybe put a portion of those funds in the whole life policy.
Exactly.
Some of the perks there is that once it's in that participating whole life policy, it's not taxed annually. So you don't have that regular income you have to draw, which means the income from the non-registered account goes down, which means you can pull more out of your RRSP.
Exactly, which is not a bad play.
But some considerations, funds in the participating life insurance policy, a good news thing, it does grow tax-free.
Yep,
so it doesn't just sit there, you're going to get some growth. And it will be tax-free. A second consideration is that when you pass away, it goes to the beneficiaries tax-free. So there's lots of tax perks here. You have no bill in terms of annual income you have to claim. It grows tax-free, and then the overall pot, death benefit plus growth all goes to your beneficiaries tax-free. But lots of considerations in addition to that.
Yeah, and one of the big ones is, do I need my non-registered money? So if you said, I've got this non-registered pot, this is an excellent idea, let's put it all into the whole life insurance policy, that's great. But if I all of a sudden need to draw money from my non-registered account, you can't do that anymore. Once it's in there, it's done. So you have to make sure that the amount you're putting away is not going to affect your lifestyle in other ways, or if you need money from that non-registered portion. Because if you do need some, maybe a portion of this is worthwhile, but the whole thing may not be an option that you want to deal with.
Yeah, and technically you could get at the participant whole life insurance
if you want
really had to, but then it messes up the whole strategy. It gets it far more complicated. It's really not ideal. You don't want to be setting this up with the thought that, you know what, I'll just take it out if I need it, because that is not how it works. That's not the way to get the most bang for your buck with this kind of strategy.
Yep.
So it's really more, how do you boost the estate in a tax-efficient manner, so you get in tax-efficient money to the next generation, and in the process, you're freeing up your year-to-year income, allowing you to draw down more from the RRIF. That's how it all kind of comes into play. Another consideration, it is insurance. You have to qualify. You have to qualify for life insurance. So if you're in your late 70s and your 80s, this might not be a great strategy. We have lots of clients in their 50s and 60s, however, that do implement this strategy.
That's
so it certainly is possible for those nearing retirement or even in retirement to implement. But it has to connect with that larger plan.
It really does. And that's the biggest factor. It has to be involved with your plan. Our mantra is always make sure you have that financial plan in place. If you have that, this strategy may be really appropriate for you and might be something you can look at. Again, because it is going to help. It is a low-risk sort of scenario. It will help with that RRSP Meltdown immensely because now you don't have that taxable income anymore. So these are a lot of varieties you have to consider. So make sure you have the plan to deal with it, and then consider what whole life insurance can do.
Yeah, and the question we got here from Curtis, again, withdrawing from the RRIF, doing that meltdown, but now you have this non-registered account that's creating some tax. Lots of ways to solve that problem. The one we're talking about today, the whole life insurance, would probably be a lower risk option of how to handle that particular tax burden. And if you have questions on this or any other strategy, how do folks get a hold of us?
They go to chatwithclintonandkevin.com. By all means, give us all your questions on the RRSP Meltdown, the whole life insurance, or any other financial problems that you want to deal with. We're more than happy to answer it. Those come directly to Clint and I. It's not a robo-advisor you're going to or somebody secondary. We'll answer these. We'll get back to you as fast as we can, and hopefully we can solve your financial problem.
Yeah, and if you like this video, we have lots of great videos, including the one floating on the screen now. Click on that one. We'll see you again very soon.
Take care.